Thank you for tuning in to the only station that gives you double the information and inspiration. WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. This is Marriage Matters, and I'm your host, the Marriage Coach. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday at 7:30 for tips and advice on all matters of marriage. Be sure to like us on Facebook by searching for Marriage Matters WGIV so that you can stay abreast the topics, ask questions, or comment during our interactive segment of Marriage Matters. Today we are doing a special show. We are doing a part 2 to our segment from last week, where we have Mr. Aaron in the studio with us, as well as Mr. Maurice. Both are husbands. Aaron has been married for 6 years. Aaron, you in the house with me today?
Yes, I am.
And Maurice, who has been married for 8 years, who is also my husband. Are you in the house with me today?
Yes, I am.
And yes, I am announcing that you are my husband. It's the first time I have my husband in the studio with me today, y'all. So I'm pretty excited about having him here, so that we can talk about what it's like to be married to me and what it's like to be married in general to women. So we're just going to jump right into this. So I'm going to ask you all a quick question, because there's sort of this, this concept or this belief that people or the community do not value fathers in the way that we value mothers. And that, we make a big to-do when it's Mother's Day. Mamas have the best gifts. Everybody acknowledges it. You go to restaurants, they've got discounts on Mother's Day. They're giving out roses for moms. There's, some church services will totally change their agenda just to do a special service for moms on that Sunday. And that when Father's Day rolls around, there's folks that say that, it's not as important as we do. It's not as a big to do as much as it is when it's our moms. And in our family, I know we try to make sure that that's not the case, but I know that it is the case in some marriages and in some families. So here's my question to start us off. What was your last Father's Day gift from your wife? Not your kids, but what was the last Father's Day gift that you got from your wife? Was it special, and what made it special?
All right. Maurice, you want to take this, or you?
I really don't remember. But it's not. Well, my birthday. Well, I'll just say this: my birthday and Father's Day are pretty close together, so my gifts are usually combined. But I don't get bad gifts. I don't get a tie. I don't get socks. I don't get nothing cheap. I'll say that. I get good gifts. Everything that she gives me has thought into it, or she usually asks me. But I honestly can't remember what I got last Father's Day.
All right.
I am actually with you on that one.
God.
In a sense of, I don't really remember what it is that I got. My wife tells me constantly that I am horrible to buy gifts for. Because generally I don't want anything. I say I don't want anything, and we were just in the process of buying a new house. So anything that was coming up, I said, well, let's put it towards the house. Let's put it towards, it's just easier for me that way. And I'm going to put something bold out there. In general, that men control the country. Mm-hmm. They sort of rule the world. But any real man knows that women have all the power. And so when you have Mother's Day, it is very important. It is very important. And Father's Day is equally as important. But from a man's perspective, I really want Mother's Day to work out. Because with Mother's Day, if my wife is happy, I'm going to be happy. And that's the truth.
Happy wife, happy life?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with that, Maurice?
Yes.
That was a slow yes.
Yes, I agree with Aaron.
No, I think that's an interesting perspective, because the husbands that when we came up with that question, the husbands that I were talking to, they're like, oh, we get crappy gifts, we go all out for my wife and me and the kids, and we do all this for her, and then like for my wife, for me, it's like a afterthought, or it's like a last minute. And I was like, I'm really sorry that you guys experienced that, because I know in my household, I think my husband is an incredible father. And so I am usually planning Father's Day like months before Father's Day occurs, like what we're gonna do for him, what we're gonna get for him, and try to make sure that it's special. So I like your perception for me, Aaron, about how you perceive as the women make the world go around, or we hold whatever power.
If men had our choice, if there were no women, I mean, we'd be driving around in a box car just with a big motor. Cars are sexy because women like sexy things. And men want to be with women, so they buy sexy things. I mean, the houses would all be the same size. They just have a bathroom and a room. But because women want more, men want to provide more. And that's just the truth. And I don't want to come across as like a weak man, but I know who I am. And so I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I know who I am, and I know who I'm with, and I'm very happy.
All right. So speaking of, who holds the power and who sort of controls the world, let's kind of talk about who's controlling the bedroom. So we're going to take a little U-turn and kind of have a conversation about sex for a little while, because it is definitely a needed conversation. What I have found working with couples is that we are all doing it, but nobody wants to talk about it. And I remember before even getting married, I remember hearing people say, sex is just, don't put too much into it. There's other and more important things in your marriage besides sex. And there are, no doubt. I'm not saying that sex is not important, but, or I'm not saying that I agreed with them that sex was not important. But what I have found since I've been married and working with couples is really the sex and intimacy and romance is sort of the glue that keeps the marriage together. It is just like drinking water. It is just like eating food. It is a necessity. And it is something that we should be having lots of, and it should be good within your marriage room. So I know I did a little experiment about a month ago with my husband, where after we had a fun night, we went up to Panera Bread. Literally just went to Panera Bread, got some food afterwards, and we were just kind of talking. Yes, recharging, getting the proteins and the carbs back in, and getting yourself back together. And while we were eating, I literally just started asking like all kinds of detailed questions about the specific sex that we had just had. Did you like it when this? Did you like it when I did that? Well, I really liked it when you did this. And well, what did you think about, when we did that particular position? Because that was a little different than the way we did it last time. I intentionally had this conversation with him. I don't know if he knew that it was intentional or that he was a part of an experiment, but he was. And then after we had this full engaged conversation about the intimate acts that we had just shared, I just simply said, now, was that difficult for you to do? Was that odd? Was that strange? How did it feel? And he was like, no, it wasn't difficult. He said, but I can see how it could be. So going into that, on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being the most difficult, 5 being the easiest, how comfortable are you all with talking to your wife about your sex life? Not about sex in general, about your actual sex life.
5 being the most comfortable?
5 being the most comfortable, 1 being the most difficult.
Oh, 5.
Can you elaborate a little bit for us?
No, just kidding. We're pretty close. I mean, like I said, it's very important to know your partner. And if she likes something, then that's what I want to continue to do. And if I like something, that's what I want her to continue to do. And we've had conversations where we were like, well, how'd you feel about that? That was something new. I was like, well, I like that. Or maybe she didn't like it as much, but I liked it. Mm-hmm. So as in that first segment, we said, what's an emergency? We were talking about what's an emergency. Uh-huh. Well, if I like a position, then that's an emergency. We need to do that more.
Okay.
And vice versa for her. You know, whether it's uncomfortable or not, if it brings my partner, my wife, pleasure, then I need to do more of that.
Okay, so wait a minute. Let me back up for 1 quick second. Let me make sure I got clarity on that. So you're saying whether the other person enjoyed it or not, if one party enjoyed it, then the other party should do it.
Yes. They should partake in it more, and they might learn to like it more.
Okay. Okay, interesting. All right. Maurice, do you have an answer to this question on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being the most comfortable, 1 being the most difficult? How comfortable are you having conversations about your actual sex life?
I would say a 5. Like you stated earlier, you use me as a test subject for everything. So,
Not everything.
It's
Just something.
when we talk, it's just normal. I mean, like Aaron said, you got to know your spouse. We feel comfortable with each other, so basically, you should feel comfortable with having any type of conversations to go down. So that those type of conversations don't bother me. It's something that we do. I mean, we engage in it, so we might as well talk about it.
Well, amen. Should be. Okay, all right. Well, when we come back, we're going to take a quick break and pay a few bills. When we come back, we're going to continue to pick the brains of these husbands.
Get ready, Charlotte, for the first annual Step Into the Queen City Detroit Ballroom and Chicago Steppin' event, September 25th through the 27th, 2015, hosted by Kim Pickett of Step, This Way Urban Ballroom, and Vanessa Jenkins of the Queen City Steppers. Guest instructor, Drury Alexander, Detroit, Michigan. For private lessons, call 704-401-8890. DJ Art of Noise out of Virginia Beach, Virginia will be on the ones and twos. All events held at Lynn's Dance Club, 4819 South Tryon Street. Go to paypal.com, the Queen City Steppers, for tickets. For hotel rooms, call 704-525-5005. Ask for group code Queen City. Queen City.
Welcome back to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte, and those streaming live through the free TuneIn Radio app. You are listening to Marriage Matters, and I'm your host, the Marriage Coach. If you're just tuning in, we're in the studio today with Mr. Aaron and Mr. Maurice, and we're just kind of having some juicy conversations, mostly today about sex and romance and intimacy, but also just about the role and the perspective of being a husband. So right before the break, we were kind of talking about how comfortable are we having conversations with our spouse, not just about sex, but about our actual sex life. And both of our husbands today have expressed that they are very comfortable doing that. And I think that's a great thing. So since you're so comfortable having those conversations, let's dig a little deeper. So we know what the Bible says about premarital sex. And I don't know if you two gentlemen...
I didn't read that section.
You missed that?
Yeah, I missed that.
Well, you know, according to the Bible that we read, according to the King James Version of the Bible, it says that we should not engage in premarital sex and that sex should be withheld until you are actually married. However, in 2015, we know that a lot of people no longer follow those rules, and probably even before before this time. So I'm just curious, should you test drive the car before you buy it? And if so, why? And if not, why?
I think you should do whatever's right for the couple.
Okay.
Okay. Personally, seeing how you're asking me, I would not have married somebody I would not have slept with.
Okay.
Okay. But at the same time, I caution anybody not to get married because the sex is off the chain. Mm-hmm. Don't get married for just that, because then you'll find out later that there's a lot more drawbacks. So you definitely want to find a balance for yourself. Know your partner. Know more than just the sex. I know many of men have been with women longer than they should have been because the sex was good. And they should have got out sooner. And not just married to, but in relationships with. You know, I've been there myself. I think we've all had that one. So don't just get married just for the sex.
Good answer. Good answer. Maurice, what you got for us?
I think that you, I would test drive the car. I mean, I think you should. You like to know what you're getting into. I mean, you might have a bad engine or something. She might, I don't know. Y'all might not connect on that type of level. Y'all might not be compatible. So you want to know everything about the person, physically, mentally, emotionally. So I say I would test drive the car. I would engage in sexual activity.
Okay.
Yeah, bad sex could definitely probably lead to a bad relationship or adultery.
Yes.
And Lord knows we don't want adultery.
That's right.
So have you all heard of this website, Ashley Madison?
No.
All right. So, I think it seems
No.
to be about the last 30 to 45 days. And I do tend to miss the news sometimes. So it could have been longer than this, but I've only known about it for about the last 30 to 45 days. But it is a website that is in existence with over like some odd millions of people that are a part of this website or members of this website. And it's a website for people who are married so that they can find other people who are married that want to cheat on their spouse. And
I think I have heard of that.
have you heard about it?
Yeah.
So it's hit the fan, and the reason it's all over the news is because someone hacked into the website and exposed all of the members, like their names and all their contact information. And so on the one end, now all of these individuals are exposed, and their spouses know that they're cheating, and maybe they knew before it was exposed, but whatever. But now on the other end, their membership like increased by like the thousands once it was exposed, and it's all over TV now because a lot of people didn't know what it was. It's called Ashley Madison, which would be totally unsuspecting. I mean, you wouldn't think that that's like a website for people who are married to sleep with their spouses or to sleep with other people. So, with this whole topic going on and all this in the media, I'm just curious, since you all didn't know about it, now that I've sort of given you a little bit of insight, what do you think about that?
Why would you want to sign up for something that just got hacked?
Well,
But
that's the after effects. The after effects. What do you think about the website in general? That there is a way people are interested in figuring out how can married folk get away, and it's discreet, like according to what I've read so far. No one from the outside, if you're not a member in this enclosed group, you don't know what's going on. So you set up these profiles, people can see who you are, you determine where you are, what type of relationship you're looking for. You looking for somebody just for sex, or are you looking actually to date, like what it is you're looking for, and you match up with people that are looking for the same thing, but everybody's married. So what's your thoughts on that?
I think you probably know when you married a freak. If your husband or if your wife is really daring like that, or put themselves out there like that, or if you're just not giving your partner the attention that they desire, their need, then you can expect something is going to happen sooner or later. It just doesn't stay status quo. I mean, you have got to make sure you are there for your spouse's needs. Mm-hmm. That's the reality of the situation. I mean, of course, me and my wife have joked, and I know she would be more in tune to George Clooney probably, or one of these nice,
He's a nice looking man now.
nice brothers out there that are actors or whatever. And of course, Halle Berry and Janet Jackson have definitely crossed my mind. But it's nothing we would act on. I mean, you can have the best of relationships and things still go awry, but I really believe in what we have. I don't believe I would ever do something online. I'm not that daring of an individual, although I'm very experimental at home. I'm not daring enough to try that with somebody else because I have all that I need at home.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
We got a Catwoman outfit, so she needs to change it up. We got that.
Okay, so you know how to bring in the different personalities
Right.
into your bedroom. I'm not mad at you. So real quick, Maurice, before you give me your answer, I'm just curious. You said something that sort of intrigued me. So you said that you're everything. You feel like you're everything that each other needs. So there's no need to go outside of your marriage to entertain anybody else. So research shows that actually most, and this one is particular to men, and I'll tell you what the research says about women if you ever want it, but I know we're talking about men today. But the research shows that actually most men cheat not because they're lacking something, but because they can get away with it.
That's most men. That's not me.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you think that's a fair research?
I would say this: cheating or your relationship with your wife. I don't not cheat on my wife because it would hurt her. I don't cheat on my wife because it would hurt me, and I would take that more painfully than I think she would, and so it will never happen because of that. So I can't speak for what another man would do. Do I think I could get away with it? Yes. But morally, I would never do it because it would offend me too much.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Maurice, what's your take on this whole Ashley Madison website?
I think that the people who signed up for the website, well, basically everything that's done in the dark comes to the light. So they've obviously been doing this for a long time, and now they expose. If you had to go to a website to do this, then there's something that you should have been talking to your spouse about, or you should have had an open communication on something's not right, something's missing. Like Aaron said, you know the level of freak that your spouse is. If you're not fulfilling my needs, you're like halfway, my cup is halfway full or halfway empty, and I need it to run over all the time, and you can't help me with that, then we need to talk about that. Maybe you'll allow me to have a friend, or maybe you won't. I don't know. Maybe we can bring somebody in. Maybe we can't. I don't know. But that should have been, they should have been talking to each other about that. And you're giving me a side look. Commercial break.
You need a ride home, Maurice?
No, but I'm disagreeing with you about ever having the opportunity to bring anybody else into our relationship. However, what I will say is that we definitely have to be in tune with our spouse's needs. And I know you guys were speaking in reference to being a freak and what that desire is, but so the research that I didn't share yet for women is, so while it shows that for men, most men that cheat are cheating because they can get away with it, the research shows that most women that cheat are cheating because of something they're lacking in their marriage, and it's 99% of the time not related to sex. So it's not that the husband is not providing something sexually that she needs, but maybe he doesn't listen, or he doesn't spend quality time with her, he doesn't help her with the children, or whatever the lack of is. So my takeaway from the whole Ashley Madison situation that I'm just learning about, and I just think it's quite crazy but interesting, is just that so many people are in this marriage thing, and they chose to make this commitment before God or before their family and friends. But we are so quick to turn around the second that either something is not going right, or the second that we're not totally getting what it is that we need, which is sort of a selfish frame of mind. And marriage is about being totally unselfish. And it's about becoming one with your spouse and being willing to stick with it and work through it, even when it's ugly, even when it's a mess, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's, things that we don't really, think are going well within our marriage. But anywho, we're going to take a quick break before we continue up our conversations. I'm so excited that my husband's here, are just answering questions with me with no hesitation, and being open and honest about your sex life. It's good stuff. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Are you struggling with communication? Or do you find it difficult to trust your spouse? Has your sex life decreased, or has it become non-existent? Do you find yourself arguing over the little things? Join It Takes Two Marriage Coaching for our next marriage retreat. Meet us in the mountains of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, October the 2nd through the 4th, 2015, for fun and engaging activities that are sure to rekindle the love, reignite the flame, and help you remember why you fell in love with your spouse in the first place. For more details or to reserve your spot, call us at 704-449-6542 or visit us at www.ittakes2marriagecoaching.com and click on upcoming retreats. Welcome back to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte, and those streaming live through the free TuneIn radio app. You're listening to Marriage Matters, and I'm your host, the Marriage Coach. If you're just tuning in, we are having conversations today in the studio with Mr. Aaron and Mr. Maurice, who are both husbands, fathers, career men, and they are balancing it all and doing it well in 2015. So we've been having lots of juicy conversations about sex and intimacy and what that looks like in our marriage. So as we're nearing the end of our hour here, our 30 minutes here, and I just got two questions that I want to ask you fellas. are there any couple, or is there any one couple that you look up to? Or that one couple that you really like what they have, you really think they have a beautiful marriage, and it's something that maybe you'd like to model your own marriage after of, or maybe, you know, there's a couple that you go to for advice, or just a couple that that you just think has a beautiful marriage. And who is that person, or who is those individuals?
Well, I don't truly believe you can know a couple intimately to know how the details of their marriage is. I mean,
Right.
people show you what they want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, there are things about your marriage that I really like, and then there are parts of other friends' marriages that I really like, and I sort of try to pull from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know how my wife makes me feel, and that we feed off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I see how her parents are, I see how my parents are, and some of that's tradition. So, I mean, I love where we are, and I love the people around me.
Yeah, that's good. So you just surround yourself with other positive couples that
Definitely.
give you what you need.
That will keep you more stable, I think,
Mhm.
especially if you have good people you can talk to and lean on. That keeps you from making mistakes.
Stuff. All right, Mr. Maurice?
I will agree with Aaron. There's not one couple I look up to, because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Like Aaron said, you can have a picture perfect marriage, but behind closed doors, it could be hell. So like he said, there's couples that I surround myself with and take the positive away. There's some couples I see that I hang around and I see the negative. I take that away too, because I don't want to do what they're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
I use both aspects to try to help me keep my marriage strong and good.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff. So, you know, sort of as a wrap-up question, one of the core values of It Takes Two Marriage Coaching is spirituality. And we wholeheartedly believe that there needs to be some form of spirituality in your marriage to help keep it grounded, help keep it stable, help keep it connected. I'm not for sure what your particular beliefs are, so I'm going to ask this question in this way. Is spirituality incorporated into your marriage? And if so, what role does it play in your marriage? Or what role does, you know, if it's not, is there a reason that you choose not to incorporate spirituality into your marriage?
I'll go first since you've had the last two questions.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I'm sure he wanted you to have it.
Yes, me and my wife go to church. We pray with our kids. We pray for our family. We talk about God, talk about Jesus. It is something that's important to me, to her, to our family. It was the saying that family that prays together stays together. So that's what it is in our household.
Right. Aaron, final words on that?
I'm not as spiritual as my wife is. I don't think either one of us are really committed so much to going constantly, but we believe in God in our household. We go to church occasionally, not constantly. Time is always a restraint, you know, with nowadays the way things are, but we believe in God.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, look, I have to thank you all for being in the studio with me today. I thank you all for being open, for being honest with us today. I think often we hear the perspective of women a lot more in marriages and a lot of perspectives of wives. I'm not for sure if that's because women just tend to be more vocal or maybe in tune with their emotions or their feelings, and husbands are not, or maybe just husbands are not always given the opportunity to express their side of things. But I'm really excited that we got the opportunity to speak to you all today, and that you gave us a healthy and great perspective about your particular marriage and your thoughts and your opinions on the different issues or the different characteristics or components of your marriage. So thank you all for sharing so freely with us today. And we really appreciate you being on the air with us.
My pleasure.
No problem.
Join us next week as we continue our discussion on all things marriage. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Continue to tune in every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Please remember to connect with me by going to Facebook and searching for Marriage Matters WGIV. Like our page to stay abreast topics, comment, and ask questions. Did you enjoy today's show? If you did, tell someone about it. Show us some love on our Facebook page or via email at marriagematterswgiv@gmail.com. Also, if you would like to be a guest on our show or want to advertise at a great low rate, give me a call at 704-449-6542. Again, we thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, the Marriage Coach, and you've been listening to Marriage Matters on WDRB Media and WGIV, the Soul of Charlotte.